All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Nishit Kumar. The headlines. GST Council accepts GOM recommendations for setting up Appellate Tribunal for dispute redressal. Campaigning reaches feverish pitch in Meghalaya and Nagaland for 27th February Assembly polls. Third phase of Sagar Parikrama aimed at resolving fishermen issues to begin in Gujarat today. Indian team settle for bronze at Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championship in Dubai. And in cricket, Australia to resume their innings at the overnight score of 61-1 against India in the second test at New Delhi. But now the news in detail. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the GST Council adopted the report of the group of ministers on GST Appellate Tribunal with certain modifications, and the final draft amendments will be circulated in the next 5 to 6 days to state finance ministers for their comments. The GOM on Goods and Services Tax Appellate Tribunals was set up in July last year under the chairmanship of Haryana Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala. The panel has suggested that the tribunals should consist of 2 judicial members and 1 technical member each from the centre and states, besides a retired Supreme Court judge as the president. The GOM report on the establishment of the GST Appellate Tribunal has been accepted with slight modifications in the language that will be shared with the states today, and following which a final draft of the tribunal setting up will be worked out, Ms. Sitharaman said after chairing the 49th meeting of the GST Council. The Goods and Services Tax GST Council has also decided to clear the entire dues on the pending balance of the GST compensation to the states. Addressing media after chairing the 49th meeting of the GST Council in New Delhi, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the pending balance of the GST compensation to the tune of 16,982 crore rupees for June 2022 will be cleared.
That the entire due on the pending balance of the GST compensation will be cleared. Even that is getting cleared. In other words, the entire pending balance of the GST compensation, which is a total of 16,982 crores for June, that will be cleared.
The Finance Minister also announced to lower the GST rates on rab or liquid jaggery from 18% to a nil if it is loose, and in case it is pre-packaged and labelled, then it will attract GST of 5%.
The item on rab, which is a kind of liquid jaggery, which is so typical to Uttar Pradesh and some other jaggery producing states. So we are reducing the GST rate on rab from 18 to nil or 5%. Nil if it is loose, or if it is pre-packaged and labelled, it will be 5%. GST on pencil sharpeners, because we wanted to rationalize it, has come down now from 18 to 12%.
The Finance Minister also announced GST exemptions on coal rejects when they are supplied to and by a coal washery, and GST exemptions for services by the National Testing Agency for conducting entrance examinations for admission to educational institutions. Exemption on coal rejects when they are supplied to and by a coal washery. Even that decision has been taken. Similarly, there are GST exemption for services by the National Testing Agency (NTA) by way of conduct of entrance examinations for admission to educational institutions. There's been a decision also to take to tax services supplied by courts and tribunals under the reverse charge mechanism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the Chintan Shivir organized by the Department of Personnel and Training. In a tweet yesterday, Mr. Modi said that he also interacted with the officers and highlighted ways to further improve synergy and efficiency in the department. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has assured that no student will have to go out of Kashmir for education, and that the future of the students will be as bright as other students in the country. He was speaking in Pune yesterday while interacting with the children of martyred policemen, jawans and civilians of Jammu and Kashmir who had come to Pune for education organized by Sarhad Sanstha in Pune. Advanced education, including medical, ITI, nursing and MBA, will be provided in Kashmir soon, and the process has started. Mr. Shah said that those who want to spread terrorism can do so, but all the people of the country are with the students of Kashmir. With just a few days left for assembly elections, campaigning in Meghalaya and Nagaland has reached the feverish pitch. Star campaigners and senior leaders of all political parties are holding several public meetings and election rallies, raking up their political agenda and promises. In Meghalaya, BJP, NPP, Congress and Trinamool Congress are charging each other over a host of issues like transparency, dilapidated health infrastructure and welfare schemes. On the other hand, for regional parties like the United Democratic Party, People's Democratic Front, Hill State People Democratic Party and Voice of the People Party demand separate Khasi Jaintia state, the revocation of Assam Meghalaya Code, inner line permit are key poll agenda during campaigns. We have more from our correspondent.
During election campaigns, BJP is keeping thrust on agenda of all-round development of Meghalaya. Addressing a public meeting in Bagmara, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said road projects worth over 25,000 crore rupees are being implemented in the state. Senior BJP leader and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and Union Minister John Varla will address public meetings in East Shillong Assembly segment today. Senior NPP leader and Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma will address public meetings in Garo Hills region. TMC senior leader and former Chief Minister Mukul Sangma will also hold public meetings in support of party candidates. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Shillong.
Our Kohima correspondent reports that arrival of more BJP central leaders is expected in Nagaland in the next few days for campaigning. National BJP spokesperson and in charge Nagaland, Nalin Kohli, informed that a galaxy of leaders will be addressing different rallies across Nagaland. He said Union Home Minister Amit Shah and various union ministers will be arriving in the next 2 days. Kohli also informed that just before the conclusion of the election campaign, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be arriving in the state. He said with the BJP and NDPP being an alliance partner, Nagaland Chief Minister Nepio Reo and Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma will be campaigning together for both NDPP and BJP candidate seats. Both states will go to polls on the 27th of February. Counting will take place on the 2nd of March along with Tripura. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Welcome back. The third phase of Sagar Parikrama will begin in Gujarat today. Union Minister of Fisheries Purushottam Rupala will inaugurate the Parikrama at Hazira Port in Surat. The Parikrama will culminate at Mumbai on the 21st of February. During the Parikrama, the Minister and officials of the Fisheries Department will hold talks with the fishermen of en route villages. We have a report from our correspondent.
Sagar Parikrama is being organized by Department of Fisheries as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The initiative aims to resolve the issues of the fishermen and other stakeholders and facilitate their economic upliftment by spreading awareness about various fisheries schemes of the government among fishermen. The third phase of the Parikrama will cover the coastal areas of northern Maharashtra, namely Vasai, Versova and other areas of Mumbai. Aparna Khun, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has stressed that the government is willing to walk the talk and its say-to-do ratio is very high with readiness to receive feedback and sustain industry efforts for a long period of time. Inaugurating the Semicon India Conference of Electronics Manufacturing Supply Chain Ecosystem in New Delhi yesterday, Mr. Vaishnav also highlighted the success achieved in telecom manufacturing and Vande Bharat developments. President Draupadi Murmu will interact with the trainees at the Madras Regimental Centre at Wellington, Nilgiris today. She will also place a wreath at the War Memorial inside the campus. The President will then leave for Delhi this afternoon. This is her maiden visit to the state. Yesterday, she visited the ancient Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai to offer prayers. Later, the President attended the Shivratri celebrations at the Isha Yoga Centre and performed pujas. In Kerala, thousands of devotees thronged the banks of River Periyar in Alluva to perform Bali Tarpan, paying obeisance to their forefathers on Shivaratri early this morning. Special pujas were held at the Mahadeva temple on the banks of the river. The rituals associated with the Tarpan began at the temple around midnight and will continue till noon today. Over 150 balitaras or platforms were arranged along the banks of the river. Devotees from far and wide started arriving at the temple yesterday. They remained sleepless throughout the night and performed the rituals after taking a dip in the river. Over 1,000 policemen, fire service personnel and scuba diving teams have been deployed on the riverbank to ensure their safety. Japan's government has begun arrangements to invite leaders of India and Australia to the G7 summit in May. Officials in Tokyo said Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese are to be invited to the gathering. Some officials are also considering asking Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to join the talks. The G7 summit is scheduled to be held in Hiroshima between 19 to 21st of May this year. Japan's government hopes world leaders will discuss a wide range of global issues, including the fighting in Ukraine, nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, and climate change. Professor Meghna Pandit, a leading Indian-origin medic, has been appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the Oxford University Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust, one of the UK's largest teaching hospitals. Pandit becomes the Trust's first female chief, and she is also the first person of Indian heritage to be appointed CEO of any National Health Service Trust in the Shelford Group, which represents some of the biggest teaching hospitals in the country. In badminton, the Indian team settled for bronze in the Asia Mixed Team Championships at Dubai. The team, led by PV Sindhu, faced 2-3 defeat against China in the semi-finals and settled for bronze medal. World number 9 HS Pranoy and Sindhu lost their respective singles contest. However, men's doubles pair Dhruv Kapila and Chirag Shetty won the contest to keep India in the game. Trisha Jolly and Gayatri Gopichan also won the women's doubles. Mixed doubles pair of Ishan Bhatnagar and Tanisha Krasto suffered defeat in straight games. In cricket, Australia will resume their second innings at the overnight score of 61 for 1 against India on day 3 of the second test match at Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi. India were all out at 262 in their first innings yesterday in reply to the first innings score of 263 of Australia. For the hosts, Akshar Patel was the highest scorer with 74 runs. For Australia, Nathan Lyon bagged 5 wickets. On the first day, the visitors had won the toss and scored 263 runs in their first innings after choosing to bat. Indian team had won the first test and now aims for a 2-0 lead, while Australia will be trying to level the 4-match series. In Women's T20 World Cup, England beat India by 11 runs at St George's Park in Gaborone, South Africa. Chasing the target of 152 runs, India managed to score only 140 runs for 5 wickets in 20 overs. Smriti Mandhana scored the highest 52 for India, while Sarah Glenn took 2 wickets for England. Earlier, India won the toss and elected to bowl. England scored 151 for 7 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. And now for a look at today's newspapers, it's over to Subhadra Ramachandran.
Thank you, Nishit. Centre to clear entire GST dues worth 16,982 crore rupees to states, headlines the Tribune. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar slams George Soros on PM remarks as rich, opinionated and dangerous, writes the Asian Age. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari says India on track to build 200,000 kilometers of national highways by 2025 is the top story in the Economic Times. HAL released plan for medium lift choppers to replace aging Mi-17s is the cover page story in the Indian Express. North India's first nuclear plant coming up in Haryana is the top story in the Statesman. Char Dham Yatra to start on April 22nd amid Joshimath fears, says the Sunday Times. INS Vikramaditya set to start sailing, sea trials likely to in March, according to Hindustan Times. And finally, unusually warm February. Mercury 7 to 11 degrees above normal, says the Tribune. With that, it's back to you, Nishit.
Thank you, Subhadra. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. GST Council accepts GOM recommendations for setting up Appellate Tribunal for dispute redressal. Campaigning reaches feverish pitch in Meghalaya and Nagaland for 27 February Assembly polls. The third phase of Sagar Parikrama aimed at resolving fishermen issues to begin in Gujarat today. Indian team settles for bronze at the Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championship in Dubai. And in cricket, Australia to resume their innings at the overnight score of 61 for 1 against India in the second test at New Delhi. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.